Hi, I'm Johnny from ultimatepapier-mâché.com, and I just finished painting my new revised version of my cat mask. And the original pattern I think came out about 4 or 5 years ago. This is one of the ones I painted, and here's another one. And I actually painted a third one as well. So this is actually my fourth cat mask that I've painted. I don't usually do that, but for some reason this one has really been fun. The biggest difference between this new version and the old ones is that this is slightly bigger, because when I put this one on, it didn't quite cover my chin, and I just thought it was a little weird that my chin was flapping around underneath it, and so I made it just slightly bigger. But if you think it's too big, just print it at like 95% and that will work just fine. It's actually got quite a bit of room to spare, so you could do that. The other difference is that I put numbers around all the edges just to make it a little bit easier to put together. It's still not easy enough that somebody like in first or second grade could do, but they would love painting it. It's just as much as I do. Let me show you what it looks like when it's on. Just because it's just fun, I'm going to do it. And I've already got a video on this page right here that shows you how the pattern itself goes together. In this video, I'm going to show you how I got just a little bit carried away, putting some texture along her ruff and up in her face. I totally didn't need to do that. I didn't do that on either one of the masks that I made before, and they look really nice. You don't have to do that at all, but I just thought it would be fun, so I did. And then I just show you how I painted it. I'm going to use this brown paper that I get from Amazon boxes. It's actually almost exactly the same weight as newspaper. It doesn't have any writing on it, so it's really easy for me to see the shapes. So I really like using it. I'm also using some cooked flour and water paste. It's really easy to make, and I'll put a link to that recipe down below. I'm only going to use one layer of paper mache on my mask. I'm about halfway done. I've run out of places to hold onto him that are dry. So I'm going to put him over this bowl, put the fan on, and get it dry really fast. So now I got paper mache on the back too, and it's almost dry, but not quite. But this part is, and I'm going to go ahead and make some fur right around his ruff. So I'm going to use paper towels, and you have to just use one ply. They always come two pieces together, or usually they do. So you have to tear them apart. If you don't do that, if you just put the whole one into the paste, put it on there, then the top layer will come off by itself. The paste will not soak through this bottom layer, and I have no idea why not, but it just delaminates is what it's called, and it's really irritating. So just take them apart. I'm just using this brush, and you can see I'm using a lot of paste because I want this paper to slide, and I want it to go in kind of straight ridges like fur would. And I'm kind of turning it because that's the way the fur would go. And there's paste under these ridges, so it's kind of holding it up, giving it some support. Trying to make it as neat and orderly on the back of his ruff as I can, because you know, we're wearing this mask, people will be able to see that part too. I'm going to put some up in his ear and some obviously on the other side, and then I'll let it dry again overnight before I paint it. And now the paper mache is dry, so it's time to cut that hole. I'm just using a regular hole punch. I'm going to put it right there. I rummaged around in the studio and I found this modeling paste that I bought a long time ago. I've got a really old stiff brush right here. Can't really use it for much of anything else. And I'm going to see if I can make some, yeah, it's going to make some really fine fur-like marks on it. And I don't even know if we'll be able to see this when it's done. But, you know, I found it, and it's almost like, you know, Christmas when you find something that you get to play with and you don't have to go buy some more. That was just kind of fun. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm not going to put fur on the back. I was getting a little carried away already, so I'm just going to leave that this way. And as soon as this dries, I'm going to leave it in front of a fan until it completely dries, and then I think I'll spray it with a white primer, just because that way I won't have any additional brush strokes until I start painting the actual colors on here. So now the primer is all dry. It really did dry really fast, just like it said on the can. I'm kind of amazed. And now it's time for the fun part. I'm going to paint her, and what I decided to do, since I don't have a cat in the house right now, I went out to the local Humane Society's website and I picked out this cat for the colors. I just really love the color of her fur. Her eyes are nice, but I wanted something a little more dramatic, so I picked out this one. Same Humane Society. And I really do have just plain old white. I never paint just plain white. It just doesn't look like, you know, a real animal color. But boy, this time that's what she is. Paint isn't quite dry yet, but I'm going to put my pink on the ears. It's just cadmium red and some white and water, and I want it really light. I'm going to go back over that with white. The short white fur just kind of lets the pink show through. So I'm not being terribly careful with it just because we're not going to really see it. Now I'm going to start in on those eyes. And looked at all the craft paint that I happen to have, and I found one that's, I think it's called a Brilliant Blue, and what's the other one called? Sunny Yellow. What I was looking for were two transparent, a blue and a yellow. We'll see if I came close. It doesn't have to be perfect because nobody's going to be looking at the photograph when they're seeing my mask, but I wanted to be close. Well, it's a little greener, definitely greener. It's a really nice color. It does have quite a bit of water that I added, and that's why it's kind of going into the texture, and I really wanted to do that because the cat's eyes aren't all one flat color. I know that you already know that real cats don't have round pupils like this, but if I made them a slit like a real cat's eyes, then we wouldn't be able to see out. so I cheated. And back in front of the fan. Okay, now I'm going to put the real blue over it. And I'm just covering up almost all of the pink in his ear, or her ear. It's probably a girl. She has a black spot right there. And up here into her ear. She's not symmetrical at all. So got one here, kind of going down like this. I rummaged around in my stash of craft paint. I found one called Pueblo, Folk Art Pueblo. Here's one, Folk Art Sunny Yellow and White. So you can decide if I got it right. Maybe it needs to be a little bit more yellow to match her, but I'm really happy with it. Oops, keep messing that up. So I have to wait for it to dry and I'll fix it. And another one over here. There, it just kind of draws the attention to the eyes. And now the only thing left is really to put some lines around the nose, and I'm just going to get my pencil set, and I'm just going to cheat because it's going to be easier to make those lines. Just making wiggly ones right here at the top. And she's got a line right down the middle, just kind of a, just a shadow. There. She's done. I could put a few more up here, I guess. In fact, I could get my colored pencils out. That was really fun playing with them with the jackrabbit, but I think this is enough. She's finished. Now, what I could do, though, is give her a final coat of this. I really like this because it is almost matte. It's just got a little bit of shine, but not very much. And that would protect the paint. But for a Halloween mask, I'm not really sure that matters. We're not going to be wearing it for all that long. So I think she probably doesn't really need it. But if you made it as a wall sculpture, then I would definitely recommend using some form of acrylic varnish or the spray varnish. Just to protect it for long term, because that it's going to be up on your wall for years. So now the cat mask is all done. I should mention, probably in case you haven't seen the other video, there are pieces that would allow you to put your cat mask on the wall. You could actually wear this for trick-or-treating or Halloween or some fancy dress party, and then come home and take the cat portion off, use the back piece behind it, and just basically tape it on and use just a little bit of papier-mâché around the edges to hold it on. And then you could use it both ways, both as a mask and for the wall. If you do make one, please come back to the Daily Sculptors page on my website, because we would love to see how yours comes out. Now go make something and come visit us, ultimatepapier-mâché.com. We'll see you there.